So the reason why your recent 8 hours of sleep might have felt like 4 is definitely because of the phone that's in your pocket right now. Hi, my name is Matt Bridgman, and I'm here to tell you why your phone needs to be put away at least an hour before bed for the best night's sleep that you can possibly get. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, I'm a teenager who, because of COVID, has had nothing to do but sleep all day and be on my phone all day. So, if there's anybody to talk about how your phone affects your sleep, it would be a teenager like myself. And for the audience, we're all teenagers that are on our phones all day. We're at a community college where we haven't been able to go on campus. If you're an athlete, most of your sports have been extremely limited in terms of what you can do. So we've all caught up on sleep and been up on our phones. So how does this affect us? What does this do for sleep? Well, what we're going to talk about today is what actually makes us fall asleep in terms of how our body makes the decision to finally roll over and pass out. Some ways to combat something called blue light, which affects our sleep and is emanated from all of our devices, especially phones and computers and tablets, and how to get the best night's sleep in an effective way combating this blue light. So now that I've previewed what we're going to talk about, let's dive into it. And let's start with how we sleep. Sleep is vital for the human body, and the human body is on a clock, a 24-hour clock. And according to sleepfoundation.org, this clock is vital for our sleep, and it's very, very paramount that we follow this clock in order to get the right sleep, because this clock releases something called melatonin. And at night, when it gets dark and we start feeling tired, that's because our body senses the darkness, the dark environment, releases melatonin, and that makes us drowsy, and it makes us tired, it makes us want to go to bed. And so melatonin's very important for our sleep. It's basically the thing that drives our sleep. And so what happens is melatonin can be suppressed by something called blue light. And this is the crux of what we're talking about today. But blue light is what radiates off of your computers. It's what radiates off of your phones, lamps, bathroom lights. It comes from any and all light. And what blue light does is it mimics the sun. It mimics that frequency of light. And so it makes us feel alert and awake, and it doesn't allow us to go to bed properly because our brain is being tricked into thinking that it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon when it's really 11 o'clock at night. So this blue light really makes it difficult for us to sleep because of this trickery of our brain. So how do we combat this? How do we make sure that we can get the right night's sleep and not have blue light affect that? Well, there are some ways, and let's start with some of the more ineffective ones. The first one is, well, let's just keep the phone on and let's turn off the computer, let's turn off the lamp, let's turn off every other light. And if I'm only getting blue light from one source, it won't be that bad because the rest of my room is dark. And Harvard Health just says that's just not true. And the reason why this isn't true is because any blue light in any capacity is going to be bad. And this is further followed up and it reinforced by sciencenewsforstudents.org that says that the blue light that we get from our phones, our computers, our tablets, because it mimics the sun, our body, even when we sleep, because we're just so tired, our brain thinks that we're still awake. And so we're not able to get the deep sleep that we need. And so we're asleep, but our brain feels partially awake, so we don't get that good of sleep. And so the blue light being there in any way is not good for us. It does not help our sleep whatsoever. So let's say that blue light just has to happen. You've worked all day, you couldn't do your homework during the day, but you have a big project due the next day that you just need to finish up, so you have to keep a lamp on and your computer on, which is fair. Sometimes we need to do that. Well, some people invest in what are called blue light glasses, glasses that are supposed to block out the blue light and just keep the more natural and less intense red and yellow lights that come in through our screens. And this just isn't up to snuff as well. Texas Medical Center has done many a study on these blue light glasses and has said two things. One, they're not effective just because they don't block out enough of the blue light and the sleep just isn't good enough with these glasses on. But two, they're extremely expensive. So you're paying a pretty hefty penny for a tool that just doesn't work. It does not give you the right amount of blue light blockage so that we can sleep properly. And so these methods of blocking blue light just simply aren't effective enough for us as humans. We need sleep. Sleep is so important for us. And if we don't get it right, we're not going to perform at the best level. So how do we get blue light to be blocked? I mean, how do we do this? The answer is almost overly simple, but we just need to put the blue light away. We just need to take it out of our room. Harvard, as I mentioned before, they do in the same study, they do a test on how early we should put the phones away. And they are saying up to 2 to 3 hours before we go to bed, the phone and all the blue light being emitted should be turned off so we can allow our bodies the proper amount of time to release the melatonin and to feel drowsy. And so the solution's effective because it's very simple. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to create some big plan. You just need to turn it off and put it away for 2 hours before you go to bed. But the second reason why this solution is the best is because it's backed up. Every source that I pull from here, the Sleep Foundation, the Science News for Students, Harvard, and Texas Medical Center, and there's plenty more, you can look it up, they all say the same thing. Just put it away beforehand. Don't have it in the room. Don't be, facing this blue light right before you go to bed, because it's not going to help you. It's going to hurt your sleep in a pretty big way. So now that we've talked about, what blue light is and how it affects sleep, let's review a couple things. We want to make sure that people don't use their phones at least an hour before bed, but as you've heard, it can be 2 to 3, and that's even better. We talked about what makes us fall asleep and how our rhythm and our 24-hour body clock is messed up by this blue light, and how that blue light really does make it harder for us to sleep. We talked about the ways to combat it that are ineffective and the ways to combat it that are effective. And that way is very simple. Just put it away. You don't need it. You don't need to use it. You need to get good sleep. That's what we need as humans. We don't need to see the cute puppy video, although we all want to see cute puppy videos. So tonight, after listening to this speech and after thinking about it, put the phone away just an hour before bed. You'll thank me tomorrow morning. Thank you.